All right, 3, 2, 1, and yo, what's up, guys? Here with the last round of the day. Got round 5 from last week. We were playing against White Forest Runick, and we won the roll like a baller. And yeah, so we opened just the absolute nuts. Tea's Shadow, and I think I have like Impulse in hand, and I have like some more other gas and so talking to this guy afterwards, I found out that that like the Runick White Forest deck doesn't really play any hand traps, and maybe they play a little bit, maybe they play the charms, I don't know. But because of all the Runick cards, you can't really make space for a non-engine like that. So when you don't have non-engine versus when you don't have hand traps specifically versus water, it's just like, well, what do you do? Like there's just it's an unfortunate kind of thing I feel like in the game where there are some decks where hand traps do absolutely nothing. You need board breakers, and then there are other matchups where board breakers do absolutely nothing, like this matchup, and you need hand traps, and it's wild. And so luckily, I actually played this hand out fairly well. Like actually, I think to what Marvin Red would actually like to see me played out as. So yeah, we go standard combo here, and I really like the Tejas here. Originally, he wasn't playing Tejas in his list, and I like the Tejas, one, to add consistency, but two, because he mentioned that he would use his Moulin to link off with Coral Anemone, I believe, to make the Mermail King. And although I don't see, maybe I don't remember his line if he was actually going into an enemy or not. But technically, I guess you still wouldn't need to use Moulin because you could just use Shadow and enemy. Maybe I don't remember exactly what his combo line was, but yeah. So we go standard, Lancia, Moulin, Toad, and then we just use. I don't overextend here. I don't make a Gaios play, which is awesome. I'm happy I finally did that right. And I just go for the king. I'm like, yeah, I have untargetable boss monsters. I have an Imperm set. I have Impulse in hand. I have a Prince in hand. Some 2 other cards of follow up. And this is actually what he talks about, where he talks about how this board is enough. After you Moulin for 2, you have the Omni Negate from Toad, and you have the Lancia. Even if they have Dark Ruler or they have Droplet, it doesn't matter. If anything, Droplet's even worse. Because one, so Dark Ruler you, then you just don't die, and you have follow up from Lancia and Toad, and then hopefully like you have infantry with your Shrine and Grave. And then here we get to see Droplet, and it's like, yeah, you can Droplet the rest of your cards in hand to negate my Lancia and Toad and go off. Sure, buddy, but at the same time, I still have the infantry in hand, and he's left with 1 card, and he's just like, oh wait, I can't actually do anything. And so for a minute here, we're going back, and I'm like, wait, can you keep going? Because if you can keep going, I want to see. I'm definitely only doing that because I'm very confident that there's no way he can play this out. I also want to know what his deck does. I have no idea what the White Forest cards do. I know they like the spell and traps reset themselves, but that's really it. So, but there was really nothing he could do, and so we're just getting to game 2 here, and yeah, I just opened disgusting. I opened like Cosmic, I think double Perulia. So I Perulia, I wait to see if he had a call by for it, and then on res I drop another Perulia. And so I get 2 draws off the White Forest normal, and that gets me to Ash to negate his search. I now have double Impulse Cosmic, in Dragoon. So I'm still breaking right now. And so he plays a Runick card, and maybe this is really hopeful for me, but I do decide to Impulse negate it, kind of banking on him having nothing. And I didn't want him to get that special because I know he gets to with the Moon Guy. And so I top deck, I think, a Ran here, which is perfect. Ran is perfect here. And so I get really lucky here. I have I blind Cosmic because I'm just afraid of, I don't know what I'm dealing with, and I hit the skill drain, and he was like really upset about the skill drain hit, like that's just baller. Not upset, but you know what I mean, like just like that's a crazy hit. But at the same time, skill drain is not very good against this deck because all I need to do, like nothing actually would have changed here. I still would have got Lancia on field. I still would have got the normal Prince. And then I could have just like sent infantry to pop. And then yeah, I have the Impulse for his trap that specials, and it's just like double Impulse is insane. And so from here on out, it's just like there was nothing he could do. And he's in the back of his head, he's chilling, thinking that, okay, this guy can just forget about Chicken Game. And I knew for once in my life I actually read a card, and because I was around when Chicken Game came out, so I at least vaguely know that it has some conditions on it. So this is working out really well. So at this point, I'm just like, okay, we just eventually have to get to infantry popping the field spell or Poseidra, and then we're just gonna clean the game from here. And he has one card in his hand, and I mean, I'm not too worried about it. You know, if he had anything like Nibiru, then I have the Lancia, um, and and so even if he did nib the field like the Lancia float, you know, he has absolutely nothing. He's on top deck mode, and I'm probably just fine anyways. So yeah, we're just kind of going from here, and this is really it. I mean, obviously, this is a 2-0, and that's it for the day. So I did pretty well. You know, I went 4-1. A lot of misplays. I learned a lot, honestly, from this deck. I would say, like, overall, like, final thoughts here is I think there is room to play some additional extenders. I think Triana is like just a great extender. I think it adds some extra value to King. Even if you don't need it, I still think it's nice to have. He has deck lockdowns as well. So this is the guy that deck lockdown with me with Centurion. So this man he's trying to kill me. But yeah, and so other final thoughts. I I would say it's a solid build. I definitely think I think it was 41 with like 16 hand traps. Maybe you almost want to play more. I don't know. It just like that was one of my biggest issues was I just wasn't opening a lot of non-engines during the day, and so one of my worries with a deck like this is a lot of your advantage is based on you opening like a good balance of engine, just enough to get the Lancia, and then non-engine as well to like stop your opponent from playing. And so an issue with the deck is that since the ceiling is lower, due to the fact that you're cutting some of those bricks, some of those additional extenders for the non-engine slots, if you don't see the non-engine, then you just play less. That's the cool thing about having a deck like Water, where you have infantries, and you have infantry, Mulan, Minstrel, and Triana, and Gund, and Megalo. Is you have all these ways to like continuously play and continuously push through a board. But then, but and so like the shit. Mm, 3, 2, 1, and so yeah. So the cool thing about the deck, typically with Water, is that you have all this engine in the deck. You have like cards like Megalo, you have Triana, you have infantries, marksmans, minstrels, Mulan. All these really cool like engine extenders, and basically engine outs to like for like pops and sends, and it just allows you to like play through a board pretty well. I think you need high technical play to be able to do that. But yeah, so you have a higher ceiling when you play the deck normally. But then in this instance, as we see here, this was a perfect example of how this deck should be opening, and this is a perfect example of how the deck should be easily winning going first. Is go first, you go full combo. They can interrupt you maybe, but you have Lancia. They drop at you. It doesn't matter because they run out of cards anyways. And then going second, I opened 2 Charmies into 2 hand traps into other non-engine, and then all I had was Rand Dragoons. Rand Dragoons plus, like, I had 2 draws plus a draw for turns, so like that's like 8 cards. So I have 8 cards, 2 engine, the rest are non-engine, and it's just like perfect. That is like a perfect, like, ideal situation for the deck. It's strictly based on variance, and I think the one thing I personally like is I like knowing that my deck has a higher ceiling, so that way I know that as long as I open a mixture of my engine, I will always be able to attempt to get to that endpoint, and I like always having the option to be able to out different things. Where in this deck you don't really have that. You kind of have to stop them from playing with your non-engine, and then fight them in a simplified game state. And so I mean, to each their own. And really, this was a really fun deck to play. And I think in future formats, even now, I think a deck like this might be like the correct way to play Water for sure. In slower formats, or maybe like if the Charmies are getting out of hand, who knows? Like with these Rizal cards and the Malice or whatever it's called, maybe we want to stray away from being really combo heavy. Maybe we want to slow down and play closer hand traps and focus on Lancia. And yeah, I think it's a really cool build, and I had a lot of fun playing it. And the only thing that sucks is I almost kind of want to run it back. I almost kind of want to run this list back, because I just feel like I learned so much over reviewing these videos this week that I could probably do a lot better on the crackback. But I don't have enough time for that, so I can't be doing that, at least now. Maybe sometime in the future I'll revisit a similar style list. But yeah, so that was a list. I had a lot of fun. Thank you, Marvin, so much for let me play your list and test it out, and kind of butcher it over these videos. I definitely did not play it correctly. I still did okay, but I played wrong, and but yeah, I had a lot of fun. And so, yeah, great. On to the next list. I need a list. So look for the Discord link in my community tab. Join, DM me, DCYGO in Discord, and just like send your list, type it out, or screenshot, send whatever. And if I have a few lists, I'm just gonna pick the one that's the most interesting. But if I just have one, I'm just running that guy. So yeah, I have locals tomorrow. So send me a list today. Thank you so much. Peace.